Of all the attributes in the game, light and dark usually get all the fame, but earth monsters have consistently been some of the best attributes in Yu-Gi-Oh! So let's go over some of the ones that have impacted the meta the most throughout the years. And starting off at number 10, we have Dinowrestler Pankatrops. This is a level 7 dinosaur with 2600 attack, which can special summon itself from your hand if your opponent controls more monsters than you do. Additionally, Pankatrops has a quick effect to tribute a Dinowrestler to target one card your opponent controls and destroy it. Pankatrops just has the potential to force really awkward game states onto your opponent. Due to its huge body, it can both beat over something in battle and then pop a back row in the main phase too. If the opponent tries to remove it somehow, it's also going to get a 2-for-1 by chaining its effect to tribute itself and pop another card as well. Because it requires no setup or commitment for a favorable trade on the board, it can work in almost any deck as an option for going second. And it used to see so much play, it got hit all the way down to 1 for a while. There was a very large period of time where most side decks began with the max amount of copies of this card. It's funny that it comes from a totally trash archetype too, that was only really meant to be pack filler, itself being originally printed as a mere common too. Technically, it is able to tribute any Dinowrestler monster for its pop effect and not just itself, but you'd be hard pressed to ever see that come up. Nowadays, Pankatrops is back at 3, and while it's not everywhere that it once was, it can still wreak havoc against some popular strategies out there. And at number 9, we have Kashtira Fenrir. This is a level 7 monster with 2400 attack and defense that can be special summoned from your hand if you control no monsters. On field, Fenrir can be activated to add any Kashtira monster from your deck to your hand. It also has a third effect that triggers when Fenrir declares an attack or an opponent activates a monster effect, letting you target an opponent's card and banish it face down. Kashtira Fenrir works as a one-card engine that does a little of everything. Sure, it is both a starter and an extender in cash decks, but it also really shined when played generically. It's a free body you can use for a lot of extra deck plays, can trade really well with some hand traps, replaces itself by searching yet another copy of itself, and can just be left as an additional interruption on any end board. When going second, Fenrir is a threat that's hard to ignore on the field. You can just summon it on your empty field and they either have to deal with it immediately or endure a banish when trying to interact with the rest of your engine. It kind of ends up doing Pank's role a lot of the time too, exchanging being a quick effect for a trigger, giving you much stronger removal as well as a search. Fenrir is banned in the OCG and limited in Master Duel, but the TCG has kept it free from the day it was released all the way until today. Fenrir is being used by a variety of decks looking for a flexible, generic option that can be useful in almost any situation. And at number 8, we have Naturia Beast. This is a level 5 synchro monster that can be summoned with an Earth Tuner and a non-tuner Earth monster. And when a spell card is activated, you can send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard to negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Naturia's Beast power comes from the fact that its effect to negate spells is not once per turn, meaning it can effectively shut down an entire card type as long as your opponent doesn't have a specific counter, like Dark Ruler No More or Forbidden Droplet. It also kind of shuts down an entire monster type, as your opponent won't be able to resolve any pendulum scales while it's up either. Since its release in 2010, Naturia Beast has been part of the meta on and off. In its release year, decks like X-Saber could use X-Saber Dark Soul and X-Saber Pashul to summon it in Archetype. Its materials are often restrictive, but the effect makes it more than worth it. In a more recent example, this monster showed up as a boss monster in Naturia Runic, as its archetype finally got some really good ways to make it with Naturia Mole Cricket and Naturia Camellia. Through this support, the Naturia strategy was pushed into meta status during the following year, where the deck got multiple tournament tops and even won the 2023 Master Duel World Championship. With an oppressive not once per turn effect and a meta game impact whenever it can find the deck that can summon it, it's only a matter of time before Nat Beast sees play again. And at number 7, we have Gem Knight Seraphinite. Seraphinite is a level 5 fusion monster that requires one Gem Knight monster plus any light monster, and it has a very simple effect. During your main phase, while this card is on the field, you're allowed to perform an additional normal summon. Through this effect, Seraphinite became a powerful combo enabler for a variety of strategies. Decks could generically use this card through the Brilliant Fusion engine. Funnily enough, this engine is also where the term Garnet for a combo piece you want in your deck but not in your hand was invented. Brilliant Fusion is a continuous spell that can summon any Gem Knight fusion monster, by using monsters from your deck as materials. So by making Seraphinite, you get to dump that Garnet as well as any light monster straight from the deck to the grave. In the past, decks could send Performate Trick Clown, a level 4 light monster, that when sent to the grave can target and special summon itself, facilitating rank 4 plays. Being a level 5, Seraphinite also enables rank 5 access to decks like Monarchs, which usually won't even bother with the extra deck. These are just a couple of examples to show the potential of what Seraphinite could enable. Brilliant Fusion eventually got banned due to how many decks were playing this engine. Even if you didn't have any big synergies with it, getting an extra normal summon while also sending a snow was just that good. This card does see some play now that it's come back to 1, but this time it's in its own deck, Gem Knights, as their newest wave of support actually made it into a competitively viable deck without any FTK nonsense. And following up this extra deck combo enabler, we have another one at number 6 with M-X-Saber Invoker. This is a rank 3 Warrior Xyz monster that can be summoned with any 2 level 3 monsters, and has the effect where, once per turn you can detach 1 material from this card to special summon 1 level 4 Earth Warrior or Beast Warrior monster from your deck. Over its lifespan, the card has enabled a myriad of strategies. Its first real use was in Medulce around 2014, where it was used to summon Medulce Messengelato, who could search a Medulce spell at trap. In 2017, Zoodiac made this rank 3 consistently through a Speedroid engine, with Speedroid Terratop searching Speedroid Takatomborg. From there, this engine could be used to summon any Zoodiac from your deck. But the deck that really pushed Invoker over the edge was Goki. This was a deck of Earth Warriors that all had the same effect of searching for a Goki card when they were sent to the graveyard. Everything about Invoker had synergy to work with Goki. The deck had easy access to Invoker thanks to cards like Marauding Captain, Junk Forward, the still legal Speedroid Terratop and Speedroid Takatomborg combo, and most annoying of all, Neo-Spacian Aqua Dolphin. While not an enabler for Invoker by himself, its level combined with its hand rip effect made it a quite annoying normal summon. This monster lets you summon any monster in the Goki archetype, and after resolving its effect, you would have 2 warriors on field for an Isolde, 2 Tales of Noble Knights. This was enough to get Invoker banned in 2018, and it still remains banned to this day in the TCG, though the OCG has already brought it back to little fanfare. And at number 5, we have Block Dragon, a level 8 Earth Rock that can be special summoned by banishing 3 Earth monsters from your hand and or graveyard. When this card is sent from the field to the grave, you can add up to 3 rock monsters from your deck to your hand, as long as their total levels add up to 8. Also, while it's on the field, your rock monsters can't be destroyed except by battle. Following up a card that enabled Earth Warriors and Beast Warriors, it's time to highlight the card that can give gas to the entire rock type. Block Dragon is the poster child for cards that have broken effects and niche types, and aren't a problem until they are. Upon its initial release in 2016, the card went unnoticed due to a lack of existing strategies that could use its effects. One of the problems the card had at release was how cumbersome it was to send from the field to the grave, and that was the case until Link monsters were introduced. From there, any deck focused on rock monsters had access to a powerful extender and searcher. The first deck to take advantage of Block Dragon was Gem Knight FTK. The deck had multiple combinations of cards that added up to 8, meaning a single activation of Block Dragon granted access to the entire engine. Even the summoning condition of banishing 3 monsters was negligible thanks to Gem Knight Phantom Quartz, a Link 2 that can, with the cost of 1,000 life points, fusion summon a Gem Knight monster by shuffling banished cards or cards from the graveyard. Sekka's Light Danger decks use this as a godly extender too. It could search Gigantus and Giant Rex for extra bodies, and while the search effect was once per turn, its special summoning condition was not, so it could be repeatedly used as Link materials. But what really pushed Block Dragon to the realm of broken was the release of Gallant Granite, a rank 4 Earth Xyz monster which could detach material to add any rock monster from your deck to your hand. This gave Earth strategies an overwhelming amount of consistency, with the main culprit being Adamancipator. This deck was the pinnacle of rock-type strategies, being able to take advantage of every niche card in the pool, like Tackle Crusader as an option against back row, or Koikimiri Guardian for insulation against hand traps, all while having access to strong generic boss monsters of the era in Baron de Fleur and Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess. To the surprise of no one, Block Dragon didn't live long after that and was banned before Adamancipator could get any real YCS wins. This monster is emblematic of cards not designed with Link summoning in mind, and with a repeatable, easily fulfilled summon condition combined with a blanket search effect that only gets stronger as more rock cards are released. We'll probably never see the block again. And at number 4, we have Spyral Double Helix. It can be link summoned using 2 Spyral monsters as materials, and its effect lets you declare 1 card type, reveal the top card of your opponent's deck, and if it matches the declared type, you can special summon 1 Spyral monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand or to a zone this card points to. While more powerful effects have appeared earlier on this list, Double Helix earns its spot for being a singular piece of support that pushed a deck to tier 0 status. Before Double Helix, Spyral functioned but struggled competitively. With the release of Link monsters, the not once per turn effects of Spyral Master Plan and Spyral Quick Fix became ticking time bombs. Links were perfect for Spyral to convert bodies into the strongest Link monsters of the time, like Fireball Dragon, Trigate Wizard, and Borolo Dragon. The deck reached tier 0 status in the OCG during 2017, with up to 70% representation across multiple tournaments, and at the center of it all was Double Helix. The combination of monster effects without once per turn restrictions, and a Link monster that could consistently find missing pieces, made the deck far too strong for its time. The deck would be banned off the face of the earth in both formats, up until it came crawling back shortly after Master Rule 5 came out, due to Magician's Souls. Souls could dump both Master Plan and let you get the Spyral back row into your graveyard, giving the deck one last hurrah of competitive play before the TCG had to hit it again. Spyral is somewhat playable in both Master Duel and the OCG, but it's not looking like it'll ever be the case for us again, with Master Plan being stuck on the list for half a decade now in the TCG. And at number 3, we have Zoodiac Broadbull. This is a rank 4 monster that takes 2 level 4s, but it can also be XC summoned on top of any Zoodiac monster once per turn. It gains attack and defense equal to the stats of all its Zoodiac materials, and once per turn it lets you detach a material to add any Beast Warrior that could be normal summoned or set from your deck to your hand. Zoodiac Trident might have been the one that got all the attention and tech cards dedicated to countering it back in the day, but make no mistake, Zoos were only tier 0 because of Broadbull. This card basically guaranteed the deck infinite extension and follow-up, as just bringing out any of your Zoos would let you instantly go into Broadbull and replace itself with a search. Its effect was also the most easily abusable out of all the Zoodiacs. Yeah, you could only rank up on top of it once, but that didn't stop you from just hard making extra copies of Broadbull, as its materials are also just a couple of level 4s, unlike Tridents. This meant you could also go into the Zoodiac combo from other decks as long as you managed to put a couple of level 4s on the field. While searching for more Zoos was a big part of why this was good, the fact that they made this search generic enabled one of the stupidest combos to ever exist in Yu-Gi-Oh! Full Power Zoo would hard make Elder Entity Norden through Fusion Substitute, which they would search with Lunalight Black Sheep, another Broadbull target, to go +7 and draw several cards off of a single Zoodiac Rat Pier being allowed to go off. Even when it got limited to 1, it could still be triggered multiple times in a turn through Ramram's floating effect. There's a reason why Dryden could come back and even be power crept out of the game by cards like Ryzeal Detonator, while not a single soul asked for Broadbull to come back. If this Xyz is legal, you pretty much can't print any good Beast Warriors ever again, no matter how bad the rest of its archetypes seems now. And at number 2, we're going to cheat a little and talk about the Ishizu monsters. These monsters are part of a retrained series of Earth Fairy monsters based around the card Exchange of the Spirit, and cards played by Ishizu Ishtar in the original anime. This series of monsters can be divided into 2 types, the Millers and the Shufflers. Both Millers share the effect where, if the card is sent from the hand or deck to the grave, you can activate the effect, and each player sends the top 5 cards of their deck to the graveyard. They also share a special summoning condition where, if a card is sent from the hand or deck to your opponent's grave, you can activate their effects. With Kelbek, you can target one special summon monster your opponent controls, special summon this card from your hand, and return that monster to the hand. With Agido, you can special summon this card from your hand, then target an Earth Fairy monster in your graveyard and special summon it. The Shufflers, on the other hand, have the same quick effect in the graveyard and on the field, where you can banish them to target up to 3 cards in either graveyard and shuffle them into the deck. They also share a special summoning condition where you can discard one other Earth Fairy and special summon the card from your hand. With Keldo, when special summoned this way, you can add 1 Exchange of the Spirit or a card that mentions it from your deck to your hand. With Mudora, when special summoned this way, you can place 1 Gatekeeper's Trap from your deck face up in your spell and trap card zone. It doesn't take long to realize how powerful the combination of these cards can be. The graveyard in Yu-Gi-Oh! Has long been a place where cards can generate value, with some even being more powerful there than in your hand. With all of the Ishizu cards available, one could reasonably mill 10 plus cards from the deck and play from the graveyard. The fairy type also gave the cards incredible synergy with Herald of Orange Light, who can discard itself plus another fairy to negate and destroy an opponent's monster. Herald being dropped on you would not only stop your combo, but also either set up your opponent's mills or put a shuffler in the graveyard to kneecap you further. Among all of the possible decks that can take advantage of these cards, one deck stood above all others. Tearlaments are a fusion archetype of dark and water aqua monsters that all have effects when sent to the graveyard by card effects. By sending Merrily, Havness, or Shiren, you're able to fusion summon by shuffling the sent card and other fusion materials from the hand, field, and or graveyard to the bottom of your deck. Any activation of the millers could start a cascade of powerful graveyard effects. With 12 copies of Tearlament monsters in the main deck and 6 millers, the strategy was almost guaranteed to hit a play. The combination of Tearlaments and Ishizu created a first-of-its-kind deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Getting hit by a Havness with full power Tear would end up triggering so many effects that it wouldn't even feel like it was your turn anymore. You can also just imagine how wild things got in mirror matches, since the millers do force both players to mill themselves. Tear Ishizu wasn't allowed to live for that long, but it really ravaged the game while it was around. Nowadays, we have the staggering majority of Tear and Ishizu monsters on the ban list in some way, and this is true for the TCG, OCG, and Master Duel. When doing this type of top 10, there's usually a debate for the number 1 card, but for Earth monsters, this is the one exception. At number 1, we have Maxi. This is a level 2 Earth monster with a quick effect, where you can send this card from your hand to the grave, and for the rest of the turn, each time your opponent special summons a monster, you immediately draw 1 card. Maxi is an oppressive card that has grown exponentially stronger over time as decks become more reliant on special summoning, and more hand traps are released. One could argue that this card is the deterrent needed to keep combo decks in check, but unlike other powerful hand traps, its strongest application is when you go first, complete your combo, and then choke out your opponent by activating Maxi afterwards. Some decks can even integrate this card into their engine somehow. In the past, a sprite could summon Maxi from the deck with Gigantic Sprite, and then return it to the hand with Swap Frog. More recently in the OCG, Dracotail can loop it back to the hand every turn with Dracotail Arthalion after resolving it once. The card is also the single most played card in both the OCG and Master Duel, appearing in over 95% of decks. Maxi fundamentally warps how matches are played whenever it's legal, and as long as Yu-Gi-Oh! Remains dependent on special summoning, it will be played at maximum copies wherever it's allowed. It really can't be understated how big of an impact this makes on any duel. If it's not drawn, its sheer existence forces most decks to run the max amount of counters in their main deck, meaning Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, Called by the Grave, and Crossout Designators are everywhere when it's around. It's so strong to the point that they took its effect and sliced it up into 3 different cards within the Mulcharmy archetype, and all of them see play. A lot of it, in fact. Fuwa is a 3-of in pretty much every single format, with Perilia and Meowls being side deck staples. We've had it banned in the TCG forever, but with the OCG recently putting it to 1 and Master Duel at 2, we may yet live to see Yu-Gi-Oh! Without the bug. Scratch the Earth part, this is the strongest monster around, as is, earning its place at number 1 on this list very obviously.